You're listening to the Sales Chameleon Podcast. Smarter sales, stronger growth, simplified.
Hey there, welcome back to the show, friends. Today what we're going to be doing is diving into the world of versatile selling. So if you've ever felt like your go-to sales pitch was falling flat, or maybe you've just had, a difficult time, or some challenging interactions with certain customer types, this one's definitely for you. And, when we look at selling, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And so coming back to versatile selling, that's really the key to making real meaningful connections. So by the end of the episode, you're going to have a fresh perspective, you'll have some actionable insights, and hopefully, and maybe even a laugh or two. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I want to go ahead and just start with the basics here. I want to pose the question, what makes a salesperson versatile? And so if we kind of, create an image for ourselves to imagine, picture you're selling sunscreen in the middle of a thunderstorm. You've got the customer, right? They're standing right there. They're drenched because it's actively raining, right? It's a thunderstorm. And you're trying to convince them that they need SPF 50. And so when we reflect back at what versatile selling is about, versatile selling is all about adjusting your approach depending on the situation, okay? And so think of yourself as a chameleon, right? Hence the podcast name. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's more about shifting your tone, shifting your tactics and the timing to really fit the moment. And it's about making your customer feel seen, feel heard, and feel understood. And so when we kind of, dig into the cupboard to, pull out the secret sauce, it really boils down to the fact that adaptability is everything. So whether your customer's analytical, maybe they're a little bit more emotional or skeptical, you need to pivot in certain situations, and you need to be able to identify when you need to do so and the most effective way to pivot. All right. Another ingredient of the secret sauce is going to be to stay human. So versatile salespeople don't sound like they're reading from a script. And in fact, customers don't want that, right? They want that human approach. So make sure that you keep that human aspect to the conversations and the interactions that you're having with prospects and customers. And then another ingredient to the secret sauce is going to be emotional intelligence. And it's key to keep in mind that emotional intelligence is your superpower. So it allows you to be able to read the room, adjust on the fly, and really meet your customer where they are. Because at the end of the day, what's most important to the customer is what's most important to the customer, okay? And so we need to be able, as salespeople, to identify that and be able to, adjust where necessary to meet them where they are. And so with this, I really encourage you, think about your last customer interaction and make sure you're being honest with yourself. Did you adapt to their vibe, or did you just kind of stick to your usual routine? And then depending on where you landed, go ahead and jot down an idea of, how you'd approach it differently next time. And I think, proactively thinking about it in that way, and actively making notes to how you're going to shift your approach is really going to help you start becoming more versatile. And so what I want to do next is really take this concept a step further by talking about adapting to the different customer types. And so, when we look at adapting our approach based on those different customer types, I've got a truth bomb. Really. As salespeople, when we use the same pitch for everyone, it's a little bit like serving steak at a vegan dinner party, right? Shit is awkward and it just does not work. So how do you adapt then? Well, the best way to do this is really by understanding what the four main different customer types are. So I'm going to go over those briefly and talk a little bit about some of the characteristics that make up each of those four. So the first is your analytical customer, okay? These are your spreadsheet lovers. They want facts, figures, and a step-by-step breakdown with all the details. So with these folks, you're going to want to make sure you are hitting them with the data and they are going to eat it up. All right. You're speaking their love language when you're providing them with details and data. Secondly, you're going to be your driver customers. So these folks are all about action and results. And so when you're having communications with them, you're presenting solutions to them, you want to skip the fluff and really get to the point and show them exactly how you're going to solve their problem. Okay. Third, we've got our amiable customers. And so these folks are more relationship focused, and with them, trust is everything. So you want to make sure that in your approach, in your conversations, in your interactions with the amiable customer, that you're warm, you're empathetic, and you're able to show how your solution aligns with their values and how it's not only going to be able to help them, but anybody that they may be working with that may be impacted as well. So speak to it from kind of an approval standpoint, whether that's, how it might benefit their whole team, their customer base, etc. Okay. And then you've got your expressive customers. These are, big picture thinkers, idea-driven individuals. They love excitement and, like I said, that big picture thinking. So with expressive customers, you really want to bring the energy, you want to paint a vision, and just give them the room and the space to let them dream, okay? And come at it from a collaborative way. They really love, they have these grandiose ideas, but they love doing, working through those processes and getting to that end goal as part of a team. And so when you're able to tailor your approach to each of these different customer types, you end up not just selling, you end up building trust and really making your customer feel valued. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about balancing confidence with flexibility and how, it really is kind of the ultimate sales juggling act. So if I kind of give you a metaphor, right? Being a versatile salesperson is a little bit like being a chef, right? You need the confidence to be able to trust your recipe, but you also need the flexibility to be able to adjust when someone says no onions, please, right? And of course, you're going to need competence to be able to understand the importance of both. But for the sake of this conversation, let's just kind of focus on confidence and flexibility. So when we look at confidence, that's really your foundation, right? It's going to show that you believe in your product, your expertise, and really your ability to solve problems. But if you start having too much confidence, that starts tipping into arrogance, right? And no one wants to do business with that person because, let's be honest, most of the time these people just turn into full-blown assholes at this point, and nobody wants to deal with that. Now, flexibility, on the other hand, that's your ability to pivot, okay? So when your first pitch isn't landing, flexibility is going to let you read the room and adjust without losing your footing. And so the magic really happens when you're able to combine both of those, okay? So confidence is going to give you the authority to lead the conversation, while flexibility is going to ensure you're attuned to your customer's needs. And so the key takeaway here really is trust your process, but be ready to adapt, right? The only thing certain in life is change. And so you need to make sure that you're as ready as possible to adapt when that change happens. And, balance isn't about compromise. It's really about control with agility. So make sure you're keeping that in mind as you're navigating forward through these conversations. And if you start thinking back to a recent sales conversation, ask yourself, hey, was I confident without coming across as arrogant? And again, depending on where you landed there, did you adjust when the situation called for it? And make sure you're being honest with yourself. You're truly reflecting on how you can refine this balance in your next pitch, because at the end of the day, it really is what separates the good from the great. And so with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and just kind of bring it all together and start wrapping up this episode. So with all of the kind of foundational things we've talked about, We've really just unlocked the foundation of versatile selling. And so I want to go ahead and take a moment to just kind of recap the highlights, okay? So first is be adaptable. Remember, no one size fits all pitches here. It just doesn't work. Everyone's different. Everyone's unique in their needs and what they value, and you need to make sure that you're adapting to that. Secondly, understand your customer's type, right? Whether they're an analytical, a driver, an expressive, or an amiable. Make sure you're tailoring your approach to their needs to make sure that you're really kind of speaking their language, okay? And then thirdly, master confidence and flexibility. So it's not about picking one. It really is about combining both to create a seamless experience. So make sure that you're making steps to work towards mastering both of those. And then remember, being versatile isn't about changing who you are, okay? It's about meeting your customers where they are and then connecting in a way that really feels authentic. And so that's all I have for today. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you're sharing it with your fellow sales pros because we're certainly all in this together. Don't forget to subscribe so you can make sure that you're catching each and every episode. And I will see you next time. But until then, remember, versatility isn't just a skill. It's your secret weapon. So keep practicing, stay adaptable, and as always, sell smarter, not harder. I will catch you all on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Sales Chameleon Podcast.